If your ankles look so swollen that it feels like your skin is stretched tight, almost as if something is hiding underneath it, I want you to pause for a moment and really pay attention. This is not something you should brush off or accept as normal aging. I see this problem every single day in my clinic, especially in adults over 60. And far too many people have been told there's nothing they can do about it. I'm Dr. Christina Serrati. And I want you to understand something important right from the start: swollen ankles, feet, and legs are not an unavoidable part of getting older. In many cases, they're your body's way of asking for help. I can't tell you how often patients sit across from me feeling frustrated and embarrassed. Their shoes don't fit anymore. Rings feel tight or won't slide on at all. Some even avoid going out because their feet look painfully puffy by the afternoon. And what breaks my heart is when they tell me another doctor said, "That's just what happens with age," or handed them a prescription for water pills without explaining why the swelling is happening. Before we go any further, let me be very clear. What I'm sharing today is educational information, not personal medical advice. If you have swelling that appeared suddenly, especially in just one leg, or swelling that's painful, warm, or red, you need immediate medical attention. That could be a blood clot, and that is a medical emergency. If you have heart disease, kidney problems, liver conditions, or take prescription medications, you must talk to your doctor before changing anything. Swelling can sometimes signal a serious underlying condition. Now, with that said, here's what most people don't realize: your body does not hold on to water because it's broken. It holds on to water because it thinks it's protecting you. This may sound backward, but water retention often happens when your body believes it's not getting enough of the right kind of hydration. When that happens, your system goes into survival mode. It starts storing every drop it can, preparing for a shortage that isn't actually happening. And where does that extra fluid collect? Gravity pulls it downward, straight into your feet, ankles, and lower legs. As circulation becomes less efficient with age, fluid has a harder time traveling back upward. So it settles, creating that heavy, tight, swollen feeling so many people complain about. Here's the mistake I hear constantly: if I'm retaining water, shouldn't I drink less? No. That's exactly the opposite of what helps. Drinking less fluid often makes swelling worse because it confirms your body's fear that water is scarce. When that happens, it clings even harder to what it already has. In just a moment, I'm going to show you a simple way to tell how serious your fluid retention really is, and later, I'll explain a gentle kitchen-based approach that has helped many of my patients see noticeable changes in as little as a few days. But first, you need to understand this foundation: your swelling is not random. It's not punishment. And in many cases, it's reversible once you work with your body instead of against it. Before I explain what actually helps swollen ankles and legs, I want you to do something very simple right now. This takes less than 10 seconds, and it can tell you a lot about what's happening inside your body. Take your thumb and press it firmly into the front of your lower leg, right along the shin, about halfway between your knee and your ankle. Press hard and hold it there for 5 seconds. I'll count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now lift your thumb away and look closely at that spot. If the skin bounced right back, that's a good sign. But if you see a dent or an indentation that lingers, even briefly, that tells us something important. This is called pitting edema, and it means your tissues are holding on to excess fluid. If that indent lasts more than 2 seconds, you're likely retaining a noticeable amount of water. If it stays for 5 seconds or longer, your body could be holding on to 10, 15, or even more pounds of fluid. That's a tremendous extra burden for your heart, kidneys, and blood vessels. And here's the part most people don't realize. This extra fluid isn't just sitting there harmlessly. It slows circulation, strains your heart, and makes it harder for your kidneys to do their job. Over time, the longer fluid stays trapped in your tissues, the harder it becomes to move it out. The good news is this: if you can see the indentation, it means you caught the problem early enough that it can often be improved. I remember a patient in her early 70s who came to see me after months of frustration. By the end of each day, her ankles were so swollen that she felt like she was walking with weights strapped to her feet. She'd been told to elevate her legs, reduce salt, and take prescription water pills. The pills made her dizzy and exhausted, and she was running to the bathroom constantly, but the swelling never truly went away. When I asked about her daily habits, one detail stood out immediately. She was barely drinking any fluids at all. She'd been avoiding water because she thought it would make the swelling worse. That belief is incredibly common, and incredibly damaging. Your Body needs a steady flow of quality hydration to release stored fluid. When it doesn't get that, it tightens its grip. Think of it like a sponge. A dry sponge doesn't release water easily. But when it's evenly saturated, excess moisture flows out naturally. This is also why swelling tends to worsen as the day goes on. Gravity pulls fluid downward, and without proper circulation and hydration, it stays there. By evening, shoes feel tight, socks leave deep marks, and legs feel heavy and achy. Now, here's something else you need to understand. Not all fluids help your body release water. Plain water, when consumed in large amounts all at once, can actually confuse your system. Your blood relies on a very specific balance of minerals, sodium, potassium, magnesium, to function properly. When you flood your body with pure water too quickly, it temporarily dilutes those minerals. Your body senses this imbalance and responds by holding onto fluid instead of releasing it. That's why some people say, "I drink water all day and I'm still swollen." Hydration isn't just about volume. It's about composition. In the next part, I'm going to explain why certain types of hydration work far better than others, and why one simple ingredient from your kitchen can make such a noticeable difference for fluid retention when used the right way. To truly fix swollen ankles and legs, you need to understand why your body is holding onto fluid in the first place. Once you understand this, everything else will finally make sense. Your body is incredibly intelligent. It doesn't do things randomly or out of spite. When it holds onto water, it's usually responding to a perceived threat. That threat is often dehydration. Now, I know that sounds backward. Most people think dehydration means dry mouth and thirst. But in older adults especially, dehydration often shows up as swelling. When your body isn't getting enough usable fluids, it goes into conservation mode. It assumes a shortage is coming and starts storing water wherever it can, and because of gravity, that storage ends up in your ankles, feet, and lower legs. This is where many people unintentionally make the problem worse. They see swelling and think, "I must be drinking too much," so they cut back on fluids. In reality, this tells the body it was right to panic. So it holds on to even more water. Let me explain this with a simple analogy I often use with patients. Think of your body like a filtration system, similar to a pool. When a pool gets dirty, you don't drain it completely and hope for the best. You run clean water through the filter. Fresh water pushes out old, stagnant water, and the system stays balanced. Your kidneys work the same way. They filter your blood and remove excess fluid, but only when they feel safe doing so. They need a steady supply of fluids with the right minerals to function efficiently. When you're only sipping small amounts of water, or avoiding fluids altogether, your kidneys slow down. They assume resources are limited and become very conservative. Fluid that should be released stays trapped in your tissues instead. Here's another important piece that rarely gets explained. Your blood contains minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium in very precise ratios. These minerals control how fluid moves in and out of your cells. When that balance is off, especially when potassium and magnesium are too low, your cells hold on to water. This is extremely common in adults over 60. Modern diets tend to be high in sodium and low in potassium. Add in medications, reduced appetite, and decreased thirst signals, and you have the perfect setup for fluid retention. There's also circulation to consider. As we age, blood vessels become less flexible. The heart has to work harder to move blood upward from the legs. When circulation slows, fluid leaks out of blood vessels into surrounding tissue and has a harder time getting back in. Over time, this creates that heavy, tight feeling in the legs. The skin can feel stretched and uncomfortable. Some people describe it as feeling like their legs are filled with water balloons, and here's something that surprises many of my patients. Drinking large amounts of plain water all at once can actually increase swelling. Why? Because it temporarily dilutes the mineral concentration in your blood. Your body senses this and releases a hormone that tells your kidneys to hold onto water instead of releasing it. That extra fluid often ends up in your tissues, not in your urine. So hydration alone isn't enough. Your body needs hydration with minerals, the kind it recognizes and can use. In the next part, I'm going to explain why one simple vegetable provides exactly what your body is looking for, and how it helps your kidneys gently release stored fluid without stripping away essential nutrients. Now that you understand why your body holds onto water, let me explain why a very simple kitchen ingredient can make such a noticeable difference for swollen ankles and legs when used correctly. I'm talking about cucumbers, specifically cucumber-infused water. At first, many people laugh when they hear this. It sounds too simple, too basic. But once you understand what's inside a cucumber and how your body responds to it, the results make complete sense. Cucumbers are made up of about 95% water. But this is not just plain H2O. The water inside cucumbers naturally contains minerals and compounds. that closely match what your blood needs to maintain proper fluid balance. This matters more than most people realize. When your body receives fluid that already contains potassium, magnesium, and trace minerals, your kidneys immediately recognize it as safe hydration. That signal tells them they can finally let go of the old, stagnant fluid that's been sitting in your tissues. Point 1: of the most important minerals in cucumbers is potassium. Potassium works in direct opposition to sodium. When sodium is too high and potassium is too low, which is extremely common, the body holds onto water inside cells. When potassium levels improve, fluid moves back out of the tissues and into the bloodstream, where your kidneys can remove it. Every single cell in your body relies on a sodium-potassium pump. When that pump is out of balance, swelling follows. Cucumbers also contain magnesium, another mineral many older adults are deficient in. Magnesium helps blood vessels relax and widen. When blood vessels are tight and stiff, fluid circulation slows down, especially in the legs. Adequate magnesium improves blood flow, making it easier for trapped fluid to move upward and out. There's also silica, a trace mineral that rarely gets discussed but plays a critical role in connective tissue health. Your blood vessel walls rely on silica to stay strong and flexible. When those walls weaken, fluid leaks out into surrounding tissue more easily and gets stuck there. Silica helps reinforce those vessel walls, reducing leakage over time. Cucumbers also contain natural plant compounds with mild diuretic effects. This is very different from prescription water pills. Pharmaceutical diuretics force your kidneys to dump water and minerals rapidly, which is why they often cause dizziness, muscle cramps, and weakness. Cucumber water works gently. It encourages the release of excess fluid while simultaneously replenishing minerals. This is why people often feel lighter and more energized instead of drained. Another overlooked factor is inflammation. Low-grade chronic inflammation makes tissues leaky. Fluid escapes from blood vessels more easily and becomes trapped. Cucumbers contain antioxidants that help calm inflammation, which allows fluid balance to normalize naturally. I've seen patients notice changes faster than they ever expected. Rings fitting more comfortably. Socks leaving less of a mark. Ankles beginning to show definition again. But there's an important rule here: cucumber water only works when it's used consistently and correctly. Drinking one glass and hoping for a miracle won't do it. Your body needs steady signals throughout the day that hydration is plentiful and balanced. In the next part, I'm going to explain exactly how to prepare cucumber water the right way, and the most common mistakes that prevent people from seeing results. If you want real results from cucumber water, preparation matters more than most people realize. I've seen patients try this, claim it didn't work, and then discover they were making one or two small mistakes that completely canceled the benefits. Let me walk you through the correct method step by step. First, you'll need one medium cucumber, about 7 to 9 inches long. Wash it thoroughly under running water. If possible, choose an organic cucumber. If not, washing it well is essential. I recommend leaving the peel on. The skin contains a large portion of the cucumber's silica, antioxidants, and fiber. Only peel it if the skin is thick and waxy. Next, slice the cucumber into thin rounds, about 1/4 inch thick. Thin slices increase surface area, which allows more minerals and beneficial compounds to infuse into the water. You should end up with roughly 30 to 40 slices from one cucumber. Place all the slices into a large glass pitcher. Now add 8 cups of filtered water, which is about 2 liters. Gently stir to make sure the slices are fully submerged. Here's the first big mistake people make: they drink it immediately. Cucumber water needs time to infuse. Cover the pitcher and place it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. For best results, let it sit overnight. When it's ready, the water will have a light green tint and a mild, refreshing flavor. That's how you know the minerals have transferred into the water. Now let's talk about how to drink it. Because this is where most people fail, your kidneys can only filter about 1 liter of fluid per hour. Drinking large amounts all at once overwhelms the system and leads to poor absorption. The goal is steady, gentle hydration throughout the day. Start your morning with 1 full 8-ounce glass, ideally before breakfast. Then set a timer on your phone to go off every 2 hours. Each time the timer goes off, drink another 8-ounce glass. Continue this pattern from morning until about 2 hours before bedtime. You don't want to overload your bladder right before sleep. Your goal is to finish the entire 2-liter pitcher by evening. Keep the water cool, but not freezing. Chilled water improves circulation and makes it easier to drink consistently. You're far more likely to stick with this habit if you enjoy it. Can you reuse the cucumber slices? Yes, but only once. After finishing the first pitcher, you can refill it with fresh water and let it infuse again for several hours or overnight. After the second batch, discard the slices and start fresh. If you want to enhance the effect, you can add a few slices of fresh lemon for vitamin C and additional potassium, a handful of fresh mint leaves for digestion and flavor. These additions are optional. The cucumber is doing most of the work. In the next part, I'm going to tell you what changes. Most people notice within the first 24 to 72 hours, and why consistency matters more than speed. Point one of the most encouraging things about using cucumber water correctly is how quickly many people begin to notice changes. Not dramatic, overnight miracles, but real, meaningful signals that the body is finally releasing what it no longer needs. For many of my patients, the first change happens in the hands, not the ankles. Rings that felt tight suddenly slide on more easily. Fingers feel less stiff in the morning. That's often the earliest sign that excess fluid is moving out of the tissues and back into circulation where it belongs. Within the next day or two, the ankles begin to look different. Instead of appearing round and puffy, there's more definition. Some people can finally see the outline of their ankle bone again. Sock marks don't dig as deeply into the skin. Shoes feel more comfortable by the end of the day instead of painfully tight. But what patients talk about most isn't just appearance, it's how their legs feel. That heavy, waterlogged sensation begins to fade. Legs feel lighter. Walking becomes easier. The aching pressure in the calves that shows up in the evening starts to ease. Several patients have told me they suddenly realized they weren't thinking about their legs anymore. And that alone felt like freedom. There's also something else that surprises people. Many notice they're waking up fewer times at night to use the bathroom. When you're underhydrated during the day, your body tries to rebalance fluids at night. But when hydration is steady and balanced throughout the day, your kidneys do their job while you're awake instead of interrupting your sleep. Energy levels often improve as well. Carrying around extra fluid is exhausting for the heart and circulation. Once that burden eases, people report feeling less fatigued and more willing to move. The movement itself then becomes easier, which further helps circulation and fluid return. This creates a positive cycle. However, I want to be very clear about something important. This only works if you stay consistent. A common pattern I see is this: someone drinks cucumber water for 2 or 3 days, feels better, and then stops. Within a week, the swelling slowly creeps back because the underlying habits never changed. Cucumber water isn't a one-time fix. Think of it as daily maintenance for your fluid balance, especially if you sit a lot, consume salty foods, or don't naturally feel thirsty. Another important point: results vary. Some people see changes within 24 hours. Others take a full week. The timeline depends on how long fluid has been accumulating, overall circulation, diet, and activity level. The goal isn't speed. The goal is giving your body clear, repeated signals that hydration is steady and safe. In the next part, I need to talk about who should be cautious with this approach and when swelling is a sign you should not try to manage things on your own. That part is critical for your safety. While cucumber water can be very helpful for mild to moderate fluid retention, I need you to hear this clearly: not all swelling should be treated at home. In some cases, swollen legs or ankles are a warning sign of a serious medical condition, and ignoring that can be dangerous. My goal is to help you feel better, but also to keep you safe. First, let's talk about kidney disease. If you have been diagnosed with moderate to advanced chronic kidney disease, especially stage 3, 4, or 5, you should not increase fluid intake without speaking to your doctor or nephrologist. When kidneys are damaged, they lose the ability to adjust quickly to changes in fluid levels. Drinking more, even something gentle like cucumber water, can lead to fluid overload, increased blood pressure, and strain on the heart. The same caution applies to heart failure. When the heart isn't pumping efficiently, excess fluid can back up into the legs, abdomen, and even the lungs. In these cases, drinking large amounts of fluid can worsen shortness of breath and lead to pulmonary edema, which is a medical emergency. If you've ever been told you have heart failure or a weakened heart, this must be managed under medical supervision. Next, let's talk about prescription diuretics. Often called water pills, cucumber water has a mild natural diuretic effect. When combined with prescription diuretics, it can sometimes cause excessive fluid loss or disturb electrolyte balance, especially potassium. Low potassium can trigger muscle weakness, cramps, and dangerous heart rhythm disturbances. If you take diuretics for blood pressure or swelling, talk to your doctor before making changes. Now, there are a few red flags that should never be ignored. If swelling appears suddenly, affects only one leg, is painful, red, or warm to the touch, do not try to manage this at home. This could be a blood clot, known as deep vein thrombosis. Blood clots can break loose and travel to the lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism that can be fatal. Seek emergency care immediately. If swelling comes with shortness of breath, chest pain, extreme fatigue, rapid weight gain over a few days, those are also emergency signs that require immediate medical attention. Another important consideration is medication interactions. If you're taking blood thinners such as warfarin, cucumbers contain small amounts of vitamin K, which can interfere with how those medications work. This doesn't mean cucumber water is forbidden, but it does mean your doctor should be aware so they can monitor your levels properly. And while rare, cucumber allergies do exist. If you notice itching, hives, swelling of the lips or tongue, or trouble breathing, stop immediately and seek medical help. I share these warnings not to discourage you, but because responsible care always includes knowing when not to self-treat. For most healthy adults with gradual swelling related to dehydration, excess salt, or inactivity, cucumber water is very safe and gentle. But your health history matters. In the next part, I'm going to put everything together into a simple daily routine, and explain how long you should stick with it before evaluating results. Now that you understand how cucumber water works and when to be cautious, let's put everything together into a simple, realistic daily routine you can actually follow. This does not require expensive supplements, complicated schedules, or drastic lifestyle changes. It works because it's gentle, consistent, and supportive of how your body already functions. Here's what a typical day should look like. When you wake up in the morning, pour yourself 1 8-ounce glass of cucumber water and drink it before breakfast or coffee if possible. This sends an immediate signal to your kidneys that hydration is available and balanced. From there, drink 1 8-ounce glass every 2 hours throughout the day. Most people do well with 6 to 7 glasses total, which equals the full 2-liter pitcher. Stop drinking larger amounts about 2 hours before bedtime to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. If you're leaving the house, use an insulated bottle and take your cucumber water with you. Sipping steadily matters more than drinking large amounts all at once. Now, let's talk about how long to do this. At minimum, commit to 2 full days before judging results. Most people notice changes within 48 to 72 hours. For deeper or longer standing swelling, a full week is often needed to see maximum improvement. Once swelling improves, do not stop completely. This works best as a daily habit, especially if you sit often, eat salty foods, or don't naturally feel thirsty. Think of this as maintenance, not treatment. There are a few simple habits that enhance results. Move your legs regularly during the day. Avoid sitting for long periods without standing. Elevate your legs briefly in the evening. Be mindful of excess salt intake. You don't need perfection. Small, consistent actions add up. Many patients also report unexpected benefits after a week or two. Better skin hydration, less stiffness in the joints, improved digestion, even a better mood, because constant discomfort quietly drains your energy and patience. Your body functions best when it feels supported, not forced. In the final part, I'm going to summarize everything you need to remember, and explain when it's time to look deeper if swelling doesn't improve. Let's bring everything together. Because swollen ankles and legs are not something you should ignore, or automatically accept as normal aging. In many cases, fluid retention is your body's way of telling you it's confused about hydration and circulation. Not broken, not failing, just out of balance. When your body doesn't receive steady, mineral-rich fluids, it shifts into conservation mode. It stores water instead of releasing it. Gravity pulls that fluid downward, circulation struggles to move it back up, and swelling slowly becomes part of daily life. The solution is not drinking less, the solution is drinking the right kind of fluid, consistently, in a way your body recognizes and trusts. Cucumber water works because it provides hydration along with potassium, magnesium, silica, and natural plant compounds. This combination supports kidney filtration, improves circulation, reduces low-grade inflammation, and gently encourages your body to release stored fluid without stripping away essential minerals. But consistency is everything. 1 glass won't do it. A single day won't do it. Your body needs repeated reassurance that hydration is steady and safe. When it gets that message, it lets go. I strongly encourage you to take photos of your ankles on day 1 and again after 3 days. Changes can be subtle at first, and seeing them visually can be incredibly motivating. Now, here's the honest part. If you follow this routine for a full week and see no improvement at all, it's time to dig deeper with your doctor. Persistent swelling can be linked to heart issues, kidney disease, liver problems, medication side effects, or circulation disorders that require medical treatment. Cucumber water is powerful for mild to moderate fluid retention, but it is not a replacement for proper medical care when something serious is going on. Always remember these warning signs: sudden swelling, one-sided swelling, pain, redness, warmth, shortness of breath, or chest discomfort. Those are not DIY situations. For everyone else, this simple habit can be life-changing. Being able to wear your shoes comfortably, seeing your ankle bones again, walking without heaviness, sleeping better, feeling more confident leaving the house. Sometimes the most effective solutions aren't complicated. They're quiet, steady, and supportive. Your body wants to heal. You just need to give it the right signals. I'm Dr. Christina Serrati, and my mission is to help you live more comfortably using practical, natural approaches that actually work. If this helped you, share your experience in the comments. And if you know someone over 60 struggling with swollen ankles who's been told there's nothing they can do, please share this with them. Sometimes the simplest changes make the biggest difference.